All right, welcome to the Sae Bae Cast number 12 with Dan Gleesac. Dan Gleesac? God damn it. Whatever, we're keeping it going. Dan Gleesac, how you doing today, dude?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Good. God damn it, it's fine. Um, would you briefly introduce yourself? Tell the, I guess, audience who you are, and yeah.
Yep. My name's Dan Gleesac. I guess you would consider me a skiller. I do have a history of PVMing in the past, a lot more casual than I am now, but currently rank 24 in XP, soon to be 23. Um, on the road to getting as many 200 mils as I can. I don't say 200 mil all, I say as many as I can. So yeah, that's basically sums me up.
Awesome. So you say you were a PVMer at one point? Like when was the switch, I should say? Like because I know a lot of skillers actually were PVMers at one point or some other thing and then they become skillers and there's like a certain like phase where they just go through. When was that for you?
Well, I started playing right on release of old school. Made my account and was all about the money. I started S running actually with natures. Like people were going for 99 RC, so I'd run them S. That was very good money. And then I got into, I think Zulrah came out in 2014, I want to say, because I still remember. I'm not sure how long you've been playing.
It was
Did you play
early
early on?
it was early 2015 when Zulrah came out. I didn't play back then, but I know it was
Okay.
like right at the beginning of 2015.
Because I remember selling, like before GE, there was a website we used, Sae Bae, and that's where I would sell the blowpipes. They were like 25 mil each. It was great.
Damn.
Um, I guess that would be I did very like not how PVMing is now. Did a lot of DKs, like duo and trio DKs. That's how the PVMing was for me. And then it's weird to say because I think I was top. And I don't want to say that I was 69th to max, but I'm pretty sure I was 69th or 70th to max. So like I definitely was doing some skilling throughout it early on, but I think it maybe was just a little less competitive or not as many people were skilling back then, so I could get away with sprinkling in some like casual PVMing as well as casual skilling and still have somewhat of a high rank.
So at in the early days of old school, because being like the top, 60 or 70 to max, like there was no incentive to max really. So what like drove you to do it, especially with how like much harder arguably it was to max, like how much more time you had to spend with like way slower methods.
I think so. When I first started playing, I had no sort of inclination to go for max, to be honest with you. I was, we can talk about alts later on too, but I started playing an alt basically from day one. I would merch on it and then skill on my main. And it was something that I just never had done before. Like my RS3 account, I used to be a degenerate gambler. Uh, I used to slay in like full third age, and I would just not really care about efficiency whatsoever. I would go and gamble with flower hosting. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but
I've
I just
heard of it, but yeah, like I've heard of like how basically it was like filled up the GE or whatever with people just gambling with like what? Okay, where did the 55 times two and bullshit come from? Because that,
yeah.
yeah, like that's this. I've seen like video clips from like old YouTube videos of it, but I've seen it nowadays with bots, and it's clearly a fucking scam. Like,
Yeah, so back in the day, I don't know odds wise. I think it was like 60-40 in favor of the host, but you'd have someone who was trusted in like a clan chat or whatever. And nowadays, if you plan a mithril seed, it just comes up as a rainbow, like red, blue, yellow. But back in the day, it'd be called like hot and cold. So if a hot color came up, so like red, yellow, orange, I think you would, it's been so long. I think you'd win if it was hot, and if it was like purple, blue, pastel, you'd lose. I'm trying to remember. It's been
Interesting.
so long. But that's how, actually, it may be opposite because I think rainbow was classified as hot. So there was like four hot, three cold. So the host obviously had the odds on you. But yeah, that's how, I mean, RS3, I was just gambling. I was all about money, money, money. Um, but then I don't know, old school came back. I was older. Thought to myself, I've never gone for max. Let's do this, even though I'm already kind of there through casual skilling. I might as well just go for it. And then that's how I kind of spilled into 200 mils as well. I was max, and I thought to myself, well, haven't had a 200 mil before. Let's go for a 200 mil. Went for 200 mil cooking. Thought to myself, that doesn't really feel like a 200 mil. It was pretty easy, quick. So then I went for smithing, got rank 7 smithing. And I think at that time that put me at like, that's when Hexa started messaging me. I think it was like top 50 EHP, and kind of just went from there. I took on the mindset of just trying to go for as many 200 mils as I can since I've never done it before.
So was that the reason? Was just you had never done it before, or was there some like underlying like mystery or something about like pushing your limit? I don't know, like because to me, 200 mils like are obviously extremely impressive, but like you have to have a super like I don't know, you have to have a ton of motivation to like keep with it. So like, what was your motivation? Was it the ranks, or was it just like what was it for you?
This one's like not a hard one, but it's tough to pinpoint exactly because to me, from my mindset, it's just something that I've never done before. And I got to the point where, not that it's too late to go back, because obviously there's still like of hours ahead of me early on. But it's just, I don't know, it's just something I've enjoyed doing, and I got into the routine of doing it. And yeah, I just maybe self-motivation, just proving to myself that I can stick to something long term while also uh, not no shots to anyone, but being a contributing member of society. Like it was a challenge to be like a full-time university student, part-time job, girlfriend, social life, and try to compete with the neats, I guess, or the people that have a lot more free time on your hands.
So I'm curious because you bring up the neats. So I'm honestly curious because although yeah, you objectively just have less time to play if when you have like actual like responsibilities in life, but what would you say? Because I don't know if you've ever been a neat before, where you really just have zero obligations, like where you're just gaming. What do you feel? And again, I don't know if you've been in that position, but would you say it's tougher to like keep the motivation? Because at least what I've seen is when I'm like living like a normal life, which hasn't happened in a couple of years, but like before I started streaming and stuff, I was going to school, I was working and stuff, and the amount of like time my brain was occupied with just thinking about RuneScape at work was just like unfathomable. Like that's all I thought about. Like I'd go to work and I was just like, dude, I just want to fucking go home and game. But as soon as you like don't have that, as soon as you don't have responsibilities, it's almost like you got to really push yourself to game because you just have unlimited time to do it. So like, I don't know if you've ever been a neat before. Do you have anything to say about that?
It's like a not a hot topic, but it's commonly discussed in like the HLC, who has it harder, who like the guy like Rodney Farva, for example, or Lynx, who's got, 18 hours available every single day, um, to find the motivation to keep logging in and playing, or the guys who work, 40, 50 hours a week. And in my opinion, I think it just comes down to your specific personality type. I don't think there's like a correct answer as to this is easier. The only time I've been like, I wouldn't even consider no responsibilities. Like I've been a COVID not neat. I've been working from home since March, and I've been able to put up like this is my PB year. I think I'm just under 4,000 efficient hours played this year,
God
and I've still
damn.
been working like Monday to Friday, heading over to my girlfriend's, like seeing, well, I'm not seeing people, but when we're allowed to and stuff like that,
Yeah.
to go and do like social gatherings and stuff like that. In my personal opinion, I think it would be more challenging for me to be a complete neat and only have to look forward to logging into the video game every day. I think that would play a huge like part on my mental stability. Um, because I've had those times where it's like you start thinking about life and you're like, am I just going to be my RuneScape character? Like, is that all that is my life? I'm just becoming a RuneScape person.
Yeah.
So to me, that would be harder to do. But to others, like I've spoken to many people who will say, I can either do 100 or do nothing. Like if I have any sort of obligation that takes away from my time and I can't compete with like the top people, I'm just not going to bother logging in at all. So I think it really does come down to the personality type, their motivations. Like people who work can still get, 70 EHP weeks. It's just they have to kind of have that lucky job. Like I have a fairly lucky job myself where I can be on the laptop and AFK barb or AFK something while at work to try to push the limits. Yeah, I guess
So,
my answer to that would
yeah.
just be I find it personally tougher to be a
Yeah.
neat than someone who works.
I can definitely see it go both ways as well. Where, because I think of Link's Titan, like I think of myself, dude. There's been times where, before I ever streamed or anything, I'd have a break, like a 2 or 3 week break from school or work or something like that, and I'd be like, oh my god, like this is like I've been dreaming about this where I can just play RuneScape for like 2 or 3 weeks uninterrupted. And then by like the end of like the second week, when I absolutely have no responsibilities, like I do have responsibilities, but they're like I can just kind of like get away with not doing them. By the end of like the second week, it's like not even the second week. By the end of it, it's like holy shit, I need to like have something going on, or else this becomes like exhausting almost. It's like
Yeah.
your thoughts start overwhelming you, and I think like personally, if I was in a situation like that where I literally had nothing to do, because I consider some people might not consider it, but I would consider streaming and making YouTube like something where it's occupying your time and stuff, and it's not just playing the game, because playing the game is different than like streaming and making videos of the game, because like believe it or not, I don't know, it's like it takes a little bit of effort to do the streaming and stuff. Where if you're just gaming, you don't even need to fucking shower. You can just like legitimately just stay in your room all day, order pizzas and stuff, and it gets like out of hand quick.
Yeah, I think well, I wouldn't know because I've never been in this situation, but I would assume that a helpful tactic would to somewhat, lead a regular life in that sense. If you have no obligations, still wake up, shower, have some sort of
Routine.
routine that makes you feel productive rather than just like waking up and absolutely doing nothing at
Yeah.
all except like pissing in bottles and Like
No,
just
no, like
going to bed at
legitimately
what,
though.
6 a.m.
Legitimately, if you had a routine, like if somebody really did have unlimited free time, they just ran into a bunch of money and wanted to compete. Like seriously, it's all about the routine. It takes a lot of like, self awareness and self like discipline. But if you can wake up at the same time every morning, which I'm not an example of, just saying, but if you can do that and you can just put in a little workout or something, eat like at normal times and just game, like you will actually feel a lot more productive than just, staying up till like 4 a.m. and like fucking your sleep schedule up every other week. But
Yep.
yeah, I guess it's just kind of like a mental thing. Because what really defines productive, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah, those are like everyone's got a different opinion on, I guess. Even when I said like contributing member of society, it's like some people could say that I'm just half-assing it and not really contributing anything to society. I'm just AFKing RuneScape on the side of my life.
Yeah, but then when you think about like when topics get kind of deep like that, like what it really means contributing. There's billions of people in the world. Like, is it really that bad if a guy wants to game? I mean, he's not harming anyone. He's just because I'll see on Reddit, people, for example, people that get 200 mil all, and then it's posted on Reddit, and like everyone just fucking flames the guy. Like the guy wasn't even the one that posted it, but they're flaming this guy as if he's like you know, the original poster of it, and just like, what is wrong with this guy? Like, um, I'm actually kind of curious. What do you think? Because I'm assuming you probably read those Reddit threads where people get 200 mil all, and you're getting to that point where you're gonna be getting 200 mil all, and there's gonna be a post made about you because you're your top page, and people are gonna be like, this guy's a fucking degenerate, has like no life, just assuming stuff. Like, what do you? I guess, have you thought about that when you get 200 mil all? Because I'm assuming, I mean, I'm like 100% positive there's going to be a post made about it. So, what do you think?
So to me, first off, I try to stay off of Twitter. Like I
Smart.
don't have a Twitter. The only time I go on Twitter is to like I run the Hexus account. Well, all the generals do. So I
Mm-hmm.
have access to the Hexus account to tweet out like competitions and achievements. Other than that, I try to stay off of it. I think I've been off of it for like 4 or 5 years. It's just something that to me adds a little more. It's a way for me to unfortunately become way too involved. I'd like to separate like my life and RuneScape, and from what I've seen, anyways, a lot of people, especially guys that are going for 200 mil all that not live and breathe the game, but they're on the game so much. If they also have a Twitter as well, then Twitter just becomes, instead of checking the weather, they check who's tweeting what. Instead of checking the news for the day, they check Twitter and see who's saying what about them, and it just drains your mental so much and could even demotivate you to even play the game. And so I just try to stay off of Reddit, Twitter as much as possible.
That's smart.
Um, but to answer your question too, like the main reason why I started streaming on Twitch, like I didn't really have an interest in streaming at all on Twitch until I kind of started seeing and hearing people say those type of things about individuals who go for 200 mil all. They're just I don't even want to use the words that they use, but they basically don't have much to say that's nice about people that
Yep.
do 200 mils. They don't know how to speak. They're terrible social skills. Um, so yeah, I mean, to me, I'm trying to, I guess, quote unquote, like break the stigma and show individuals that people doing 200 mils or 200 mil all can actually hold a conversation, are intellectual human beings that have seen sunlight and have kissed a girl
The
or male or whatever you prefer.
the crazy thing is I actually think people going for two. I don't think it's even a question that people that have gone 200 mil all in our top page are like intellectuals. Like, I know that sounds not intellectuals. We'll just say they're very intelligent because it actually takes a bit of you know intelligence to be able to maintain efficient rates and stuff like that. Like, believe it or not, I know that might come as a surprise to some people, but I would actually argue that being efficient on RuneScape actually takes a brain, and a pretty big one, to especially like be able to mentally like keep yourself grinding, I guess. You might think it's like a clinical fucking insanity, but I would say it's, I don't know, it's, you have to kind of have a big brain for it, because like, trust me, I've had a friend, I had a pothead friend that like, he would play RuneScape, and I swear, dude, he just doesn't understand, like, he doesn't fucking understand how the game works. And he's just, everything he does is so inefficient. I know it just takes time to get efficient and stuff, but it's like, dude, the people that really have gotten to an MMO, they have to be really smart. Like, it might not be the most socially, you know uh whatever, but
Yeah, socially advanced human
yeah.
being.
But they
No,
definitely have a
for
brain.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the a lot of people, from what I've seen, anyways, are in potentially some sort of education, anyways. A lot of computer science, like majors, are going for 200 mil all. The spreadsheets that they come up with, like I can't do any of that sort of math, long term, calculating their exact, seconds basically as to planning things out and stuff like that. Like, to me, I just learn a method, log into the game, do that for X amount of hours, and then move on. Whereas these guys have Google Docs spreadsheets calculating all this type of stuff, long-term macro efficiency. It's like, it is very impressive, and you learn a lot about stuff that technically can be applied into real life as well. Like, I'll never forget uh, I think I was in like grade 6 or 7. So I was like, I don't know, 11, 12. My science teacher asked, how do you make bronze? And I was the only kid in the science class that could answer because I was making bronze bars and free to play. So, you know, RuneScape can change your life. You get that right answer, just a snowball effect, butterfly effect from there.
So I actually had somebody DM me a question for you,
All
uh,
right.
and it was by Corky. And I can't actually find it right now because we're talking a bunch, and I'm trying to find the exact wording. But basically, I want to say it was Corky. I can't even find it. I think it was, but he basically said, because of what you just said, where you know the skill, or like the method for the skill, and you just put in the hours. Would you say you are at least somewhat of like an innovator? Like, would you like, not like you need to make up a method, but like, have you ever, you know, optimized a method, or do you just do what you see and do it for the hours and like whatever? I guess that's kind of like a bad wording for the question,
I
but
know, I know what you mean. Like, I'm definitely not the type of player to go and try to find new methods that could become like meta changing. Personally, even with like dev blogs and stuff, like I'll wait for someone else to go and read it, and then they pull out the information and whatever they'd like to, like, they come to, not saying I have like a bunch of like sweatshop workers looking at dev blogs for me and deciphering important information, but typically there's a lot of people that are invested. Every time the dev blog comes out, they go look at it right away, pick apart some things that could be important for skillers, and then make some sort of post about it or start talking about it in like a clan chat or a Discord. That's when I'll pick up on it. So in terms of being like an innovator in a certain skill, I like to try different things. Like for mining, for example, I've been doing like boosted VMs. Um, for Slayer, I started like networking my Slayer task, which wasn't like commonly done. Uh, but I wouldn't say yeah, I didn't come up with those methods or anything like that. So I have tried newer or like innovative methods, but I wouldn't go and do it myself and try to find them.
okay. So I'm curious. Uh, Oh, I just got a message. You see that in game? Postponing the release of
Yeah.
equipment rebound. It's not like you
So,
really care, but
I was gonna say, someone go read that for me and let me know if it affects me.
I'll make a ramble on it later. Um, okay, so Champions Cape wants to know what your favorite skill is and what your least favorite skill is. So I guess thing is, whenever I read that, like personally, I always just think of like not particularly skill, but like what's my favorite method and least favorite method. But like, I
I
guess we'll
was
say
that,
skill.
I was just gonna ask you because I have two different answers depending on if it's just skill in general or
Yeah.
skilling method.
Well, you can say both.
Uh, yeah. So for favorite skill in general, and I like when someone asks me this question, I like to encompass my favorite skill with everyone in mind. I think like a well-rounded skill would be my favorite skill personally because it accommodates everyone playing the game. I mean, we're playing an MMO, so like my favorite skill is Slayer because of just the diversity that goes into it. Like you can just do it so many different ways,
Yep.
so many like so much variety in the skill. So like that would be my simple answer for that. And then least favorite skill would hands down be construction for me. I like that it's fast. That's the only benefit to it. But the way in which you train, I mean, no, I'm just gonna say rune crafting. RuneScape in general is just very repetitive. I mean,
Yeah.
mining, you're clicking the same four rocks. But to me, there's just something about building and removing over and over and over that seems more dull than any other sort of dull skilling method in RuneScape.
Interesting. That's kind of funny because, like, at the end of the day, it really is clicking. It's like if you just were to take away all the visual of like OSRS and just do the same clicks, kind of, it wouldn't feel as bad, I guess. But construction, I will admit, I don't know if I. Here's the thing, I don't even know if I mind construction because it's been so long. It's been like at least 2.5 years since I even trained the skill like properly. Besides Mahogany Homes for like a couple hours, and but I kind of see where you're coming from. Where like at the end of the day, the game's just clicking, but there's something about certain methods that just not appealing. And one of those is running around shooting monsters and like avoiding damage by running around for some reason, and I can't explain why. It just bothers me. Like I don't like those methods where you just run around, like the Zammy method where you run around with a T-bow, Sarah run around with a T-bow, even
Yeah.
Hydra running around with T-bow. Although Hydra has way like just other issues with it alone, but yeah, there's just something about being up right in front of the boss with a sword or something. It's just so much more appealing to me. I don't know.
You like to face things head on, maybe.
Yeah, the whole running shooting thing just never appealed to me, and yeah, so I can kind of see where you're coming from. At the end
It's
of the day,
weird
it's all
because
repetitive, but yeah.
that's what it like to me. It feels weird even answering it when people ask me because I'm like, no, I get it. Like I'm doing granite. I'm literally clicking the same four rocks over and over, but there's something way different than clicking on a table, removing it, building it, then clicking on the same four rocks over and over. I don't know.
Three tick
Something
4G is honestly such a good skilling method. Like, it's so satisfying, man. Like, I think I was talking to BC Guppy about it, just the differences between like a tick manipulation skill, like three tick 4G, where it's like you almost feel like you're fully engaged in the skill, and like whatever you do, you're like directly getting the output. Like you're getting like that gratification, like as soon as you do the click, you're getting the big XP drop and you move on and just really quick. Whereas like you think of Winter Todd or any other thing where you just have these weird delays and lagginess, it's just not satisfying whatsoever. So I just got to give a shout out to 3 tick 4G. It's a good skilling method.
it has become actually not a highlight of my day, but I would get into this. I think I've seen questions about alting and services, but I do like VM in the morning Then from like a certain period of time, do granite for like a 6 hour, and then go back to VM. So a nice, it's a nice way to balance out the skill, and then I also don't have to dread potentially just 3-tick 4G for 15 hours a day, depending on my schedule.
All right, so you mentioned it. We're just going to talk about it.
Let's do it.
Services. Thoughts on services, because every like player that plays a lot has their own opinions on it. So I guess we'll just get into it. What are your thoughts on services? Should it be in the game?
Should it be in the game?
Like, should it be allowed, I
I
should say?
it in my opinion, I don't think services should be allowed. No. Um, will I do it? That's a completely different story. But to me, I don't think services should be a thing. And in all, so I'm just gonna be completely honest with everybody. Unfortunately, it's a gray area, the services. So it's like they keep talking about it that we're going to look into it. So it's like people are a little bit of afraid to just flat out say like, yeah, I do services.
Yep. They're
Um,
investigating. That's what it's called. They're
yeah, so it's
investigating. Yeah.
it's very worrisome, especially to someone who's put in, 13,000 efficient hours almost, and it's like, do I just do this openly and potentially just get owned for it one day when they come out and say, "Oh, you're not allowed to do that." And But I don't think they just come out and ban people without giving like a fair warning.
Yeah,
So,
no way. Especially at this
so
point.
yeah. So I mean, I've been doing services for a year and a half, I guess, through a Discord. Like, I don't want to say professionally because that sounds very cringy, but you know, I guess through a Discord, organized way of doing it, for about a year and a half. And to me, I just sometimes I just shake my head when I see like Iron Men, for example, that get services done. To me, it's like you're volunteering to play a game mode in which you're wanting to do things all on your own.
Yep.
So some services I think are more like shaking my head worthy than others, but I just think in general it would be awesome for services to not be a thing, but I think I could be wrong. I think the only way that that would ever be taken out is if they take out account sharing in general, and I don't think they have the balls to ban account sharing. I mean, even as a business perspective, not really the
Yep.
ball is just it's not a smart business move to ban account sharing because you'll have so many people not playing the game, so much more less accounts having paid membership and stuff like that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's kind of will Jagex do it, because I think most people that play a lot can agree account sharing is just bad. It's bad for the game. But at the same time, it's hard to even say if it's bad for the game, because I look at it where, I guess it's more of like, you know, high level players would hate to see, some other person account sharing. Where if you're just a casual, who the hell cares if you are account sharing? So I guess when I say it's bad for the game, I only look at it in the eyes of like people that play a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
Yeah.
I'll speak from firsthand experience. Like through at Hexus, we have, I guess we call them like recruitment drives, where Randy, the spreadsheet man, puts together a huge spreadsheet of, individuals in which we're interested in recruiting them or speaking to them, like based on their EHP output weekly, monthly. And it's extremely unfortunate coming from like an HLC, like EHP sort of clan focused environment, because that's where, we're looking for players putting up big numbers. And to go on to Temple and have to decipher, okay, is this a job account? Is so and so just on 100 EHP week because they have two people playing their account? So it really takes
Yep.
a little bit of the fun out of competitive skilling because it's like you can just, well, you're trying to do an EHP comp over the weekend, just open a ticket, we'll play 24 hours for you and you'll win. So that's where it's that's where I have a big problem with it. Especially, I never thought I'd see the day, and I have seen the day now numerous times. People would ramble about service is terrible because what if someone buys a max cape and then that person now goes on to do 200 mils? And I was thinking to myself, dude, you're gonna spend, 5, 10 bill on a max cape because you're too lazy to do the skilling, but then you yourself are gonna go for 200 mils. It's like, to me, that doesn't add up. Like, what
Yeah.
type of individual would pay for a max keep, but then on their own time do 200 mils? And there's people that have literally paid for max through services and then now do 200 mils. It's like
Yikes.
it's yeah, it stinks. That's just how I put it. Not fun to see.
And where does Jagex draw the line when they say account sharing's fine unless you're competing? Like, where the hell is that line?
That that line is as far back as my hairline because there's people that are very, 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 very high ranked that account share. So it's like
Jeez.
if the highest of the high have account shared and aren't banned for account sharing, then you're not banning people for account sharing for competitive ranks because they are like the top player.
Yep.
So
Well, what do
not
you?
saying
Yeah, like,
links. I said top player, but not links. I'm just saying
yeah. I know
top
what you mean.
top players like outputting a lot.
Because that's where I was. I was wondering. I was like, where do you draw the line? Is it like top 100? Oh, if you're in the top 100, then you can't because that means you're competing. But if you're any like worse than that, then whatever, it doesn't matter. But it's like you can't. You just either have to take it all away, or you have to make it all allowed. And in my opinion, making account sharing allowed, like, is the worst thing ever for this game. Uh, and so my opinion is to just make it a bannable offense to account share. And like you said, Jagex doesn't have the balls to do that, or it's not worth it to them to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand it. Business, I get it. I mean, there's got to be like thousands and thousands of accounts that are paid membership that are account shared, and they'd be gone if they weren't. But like touching back on like what is competitive ranks, and can I just not claim I'm being competitive? Like, what if I was just account sharing with a guy from Australia? I'm Canadian, by the way, for those that don't know. So like complete opposite time zone, basically, is what I'm saying. If I go to bed, he puts in 12 hours. He goes to bed, I put in 12 hours. We just happen to end up, top 10. Like, but I'm not going for competitive ranks. It's just like there's just so much time being played on the account that it happens to be that way. So like, how do you decipher if like you kind of get screwed over, I guess, at that point if you are getting high ranks at that point too in their eyes. If they're saying they're only banning people for competitive ranks, it's like I could just claim I'm not trying to be competitive, and then I get out of it, I guess.
So I just was curious and I looked it up because I've looked this up before, but it's been like a year, and it was just the rules of RuneScape, and this is literally what it says. And there are so many people that like just, and I'm guilty of it too, just for kind of misquoting what the rules actually say about account sharing and other things. But it literally says account sharing and buying or selling accounts. I have it pulled up on my end.
Hmm.
Each account should only be used by one person. Never share your account with anyone else, as doing so will likely get the account banned. Players may not sell, share, transfer, or lend their account to anyone else. Like, it's in the rules. You will not do that. And it's just like people have honestly gotten to the point where they actually don't think it's a rule. Like they're just like it's not even in the rules. Like there's actually people that say that. It's just like it's not in the rules. Like it's clearly stated right here. And then it says players should not accept an account that anyone else offers as they may be stolen, and this could lead to your own account being disabled. And then why we have this rule. We have this rule as part of our procedures to preserve the integrity of the game and its players' hard-earned achievements. The high scores are there to measure the achievement of an individual, not a group of players or third party. Also, if disputes occur and friendships break down, it can lead to at least one of the parties permanently losing access to the account or having it stripped of wealth and items. And yeah,
Yeah, so I think it's, I mean, I'm no lawyer, but uh, I did take a human rights course in university. So I do remember this one saying, I guess. There's like, like how it's written and then how it's practiced, like the law itself, how it reads versus, I guess, how the law itself is practiced in reality. And it seems like there's a couple rules of RuneScape that are there as
for
almost an
looks, almost,
intimidating
yeah.
factor, or yeah, for looks, like like we can talk about the AHK rule, um, I think, I don't know if it with third party clients, like that whole shabacle that happened when like OS Buddy had those OP features and they started, saying certain features weren't allowed, certain features are. But like to me, that account sharing rule is there so that you don't account share with, your, this is just an example, I don't know, your partner in life, and then you guys end up, cheating on each other, and then they yoink your bank, and now you're crying. To me, that's what that account sharing rule is there for. They don't want to see you basically get scammed by a friend or someone you account share with RWTs, your account gets banned, and now you didn't RWT, so you feel like you're just shit out of luck. Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah.
I think we're allowed. You're just like stuck with no account now. So I personally think that's what that's there for. Same with AHK rule. Like AHK rule is there to scare you from not using it at all, when in reality, in my opinion, if you're using AHK in a one-to-one manner, which means like one input, one output, you press the number one, it left clicks for you. You press the number two, it drops down a certain distance for you, and that's it. I don't think, or you know what? I'll even say I have not met anyone who has legitimately used AHK in a one-to-one manner that has been banned for it if they actually use it
I
like
even
that.
know a
So
person that was using a 1 to 56 and didn't get banned until it was shown on stream. No.
I,
But
yep.
okay, you know what? I know it's like I've already talked about it in a ramble and things, but I'm seriously curious on your thoughts because it's not only Coxie. Coxie just unfortunately had it go off on his stream, which was embarrassing as fuck, I could imagine. And although he's not competing for ranks and he's not like, you could argue it's not really affecting anything. It does affect things when people cheat and then they get, a slap on the wrist or something. Like, okay, well, first of all, I'm curious, how the hell do you do like basically a 1 to 56 and not get like the Jagex like thing flaring up basically? Be like, which, isn't there some, like, I guess I put too much faith in Jagex because like I got permanently banned for auto clicking. And that's just like simply my mouse there just clicking at some random ass interval. And it's like, what is the difference between having your mouse literally fly through cleaning your entire inventory of herbs? Like, is that not setting off alarms at Jagex to like there's obviously something wrong in this account? I don't know.
I I would assume, I wouldn't know from personal experience, and this isn't sarcasm because I haven't used those at all ever. I do know people that have shown me it and stuff like that. So I'm not saying like, oh yeah, my friend does it, like AKA me, but like I do know people who, for example, the Cramja shop back in the day,
Yeah.
how it used to be an alt. So like that method there, you'd have 13 noted items in your inventory. You'd sell one to each, like, sorry, there'd be 13 slots in the store. You'd sell one of the items in your inventory. It'd fill up the shop, and then every minute it would uh, despawn in the
Yeah.
store. You'd get to sell another item. It was a very good moneymaker back in the day. So people, I've seen it. Press the number one, literally sell 13 items in your inventory in one game tick. So you press one button, right click, drop down, sell one. It would repeat that for another 12 times in one game tick. Never got flagged for it. I think it's honestly like it's I don't want to say this to encourage them, but like it is very impressive with the amount of knowledge that people have in terms of making these scripts that don't get flagged. So I think just the sophistication of going around the detection system, if you put in certain like sleep timers in the script, or you're going around different pixels rather than like an auto clicker, for example, which would just click on the exact same pixel on the exact same second every time. So I'm assuming they've got like just gotten more educated on how to write these scripts. Because yeah, I've seen people do, like Tob, and they press the number one, same thing. They do like an eight-way switch in one game tick for gear
Oh my
switching and stuff like
god.
that. So
So,
yeah,
do you think it's a good look? I'm just curious on your thoughts. I've already kind of shared mine, but do you think it's appropriate that he got? And I'm sorry to Coxie. I love the guy, but I just this is the example that everyone has heard about in the last like week, so I'm just bringing it up again. But do you think it was appropriate a 2-day ban?
it's interesting because like my first initial reaction when I heard he got two-dayed was, so you're telling me I can use AHK and get a 2-day? Like, to me, that encourages more people to push AHK to the limit and get a 2-day. Like, let's see how far I can get
Yep.
using AHK, and then all right, I'll eat the 2-day ban. It's fine, whatever.
It's really
Um,
a bad look, and it's there's such thing as like streamer favoritism and stuff, obviously, but it's like I don't know. It wasn't like he was competing for a rank, obviously trying to get a skill done really quick or something, but encouraging that, like, it's not even, well, I wouldn't say encouraging, but it's like, yeah, it's like what you said, where, oh, I can do this for a 2-day ban because, and here's the worst part is like in one of my or in the ramble I was talking about it, there was a Reddit post saying, basically some guy on Reddit was claiming that, oh, whenever you do this, it's always been a 2-day ban, and like he was blaming somebody else for spreading misinformation. I guarantee you, there's a lot of people that have been permanently banned for using AHK, like
yep,
hardcore
right.
scripts like that. And so when they're spreading misinformation like that, like, and it's getting upvoted to the extreme, people, especially on fucking Reddit, I can imagine, are thinking, oh, I can just use these OP scripts, and as soon as I get caught, then I'll just chill. I can take a 2-day vacation.
I think I don't know how things are at Jagex. I think there's some sort of miscommunication with all these mods going in and out and getting fired or leaving the organization or the company, and then new mods coming in. I don't know if, the rules have been passed down or have been, uh, you know, encouraged in the exact same way that they have been. But I don't know if you remember or even know of the guy. His name was Situation. He was rank one
Yep,
Ironman.
yep, I remember.
So he got perm banned for AHK. He was doing Hunter at the time, and so for the Herb Tar, instead of like manually clicking Herb then Tar, he would press the number one, and it would use the Herb on the Tar. So it was like a 1 to 3 AHK script, and he got perm banned for that.
And then he got unbanned, I heard. Like
Oh, did he?
I I'm I'm almost certain he's unbanned. In fact, I'll just
Hmm.
ask right now.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it got washed. later on.
Yeah, it was. It was like it was within like the past 2 years he got unbanned. Obviously, he doesn't like play it. I don't know what he does, but
Yeah, I've seen people get which to me is interesting too. Like I've seen I'm pretty sure, and someone can correct me afterwards and call me an idiot if I'm spreading false information. So take this with a grain of salt, but I'm pretty sure Harmony, who's 200 mil all now, his first account got perm banned for botting agility, and then years later he could make some sort of like apology and say, "I'm sorry, I won't do it again," and now he has that account back. So it's like I don't get that part either, but yeah, I've seen people been perm banned for less, I'll just say that, and been using it like that was I think you pressed like one button and it was like a 32-way drop or some shit like that to like drop
Jesus
fish is
Christ.
what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
So I know he wasn't using it to kill bandos, obviously,
Yeah.
um, but
So
it can be dangerous.
so I was perm banned for auto clicking, and swear to God, it was one night for 6 hours straight, and I got permanently banned a few days later. And so, like, you think about the punishments for these kind of things, and you wonder, like, where's the rhyme or reason for, you know, getting like a 2 day or, a 2 week or whatever. Um, yeah, like, there is no, it's pretty much like whoever the person that's reviewing the account, whatever his discretion is at the time or hers, like, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what happens. Like,
Did you did you have a prior offense at all or no?
no, I had
Hmm.
never, ever in all of my years playing RuneScape had ever had an offense before that, even a mute or anything. I was like fully fucking clean. And the only thing, so this might sound like kind of conspiracy theory ish, but the reason I think I was permanently banned was because about 2 weeks before that incident, I purchased the premier package or whatever for a year's worth of membership with real money. I was like, okay, like I'm loving this account right now. Let me just buy the full year. So I had like 350 days on it when I was banned, and this might, I know it sounds like conspiracy ish, but like I really think the reason I was permed is because I had already kind of paid for the membership, and they can just kind of they got their money basically. Whereas if I only had like 2 days of membership on the account, I literally feel like they would have only banned me like as a temp ban because of money. I really think that. Like I really think just simply the fact that they know I'm gonna make another account and like pay money again is the reason I
Hmm.
was permed instead of um just as a temp ban. But who the hell knows? That's just like something I was thinking. I was like, you know what? Like that would make sense from a business perspective to just ban somebody that just paid for a fucking huge package of membership because as it says in the rules, if you cheat, like all your memberships like revoked. Like so. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say you're completely crazy. Like I personally know people who have gone through like 5+ accounts, just first strike on their account, perm banned,
yep.
makes another one, perm banned. So it's like you could make the argument, I guess, that they know that that IP potentially or whatever is has done this before, so they're instantly perm banning. But you could also say they're seeing that they're making an account, paying for membership over and over and over. So why not just perm it instead of
Yeah, more
2 day?
money.
Yeah.
No, it was just something I was thinking of at the time. Just like I really feel like if I had just 1 day of membership remaining, they'd be like, "Man, okay, if we give this guy a 2 day break, he'll come back and buy members and stuff again. That's more money." Not like the person reviewing the account actually fucking cares. It's not like they're the Jagex owner, but like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main thing that I have a problem with, honestly, in regards to the rules is the like lack of consistency in like rule breaking in general, to be honest with you. It's like some people can get away with it. Something like I think I would there's some things that people have gotten away with that I would never imagine trying to do myself because I'm like, oh, dude, that's so obvious. That's like insta ban,
Yep.
but they don't. And then like I've been false banned for 2 days for doing Hunter when I was manually clicking my Hunter. Same with like Lynx who got manually or not manually banned, sorry, but was doing his Hunter, got a 2 day just for flagging something, but the people that are actually botting somehow don't get flagged.
I
I mean,
wonder, like I'm sorry for interrupting.
that's okay.
I wonder if if like a different person in the community were to have done what Coxie did, someone that's not particularly like, looked up to or like highly regarded, I guess, because like the amount of people just brushing it off was like astounding to me, honestly, and like, people that just didn't give a shit. But I seriously wonder if it had been someone that the community doesn't generally like did that exact same thing, I feel like they would have just gotten, first of all, depending on how the community reacts, like I honestly feel like it probably would have been a perm ban and then everyone would have been like like sit the fuck down, like you rat, you know. It's kind of funny how, I don't know.
It's also unfortunate that, I mean, the amount of people that were seeing it, like, I can almost guarantee you if some guy with, like 5 viewers or something stream that, we're not talking about this at all, and they're probably not banned for it. Um, and then also, like, it was funny to me, just as a side note, going through the comments on Twitter and seeing some people's responses, like, how could you do this? What a cheating scumbag, blah, blah, blah. And then I know them and I know what they've done. So it's like there's a lot of people that are also like I'm definitely not encouraging what was done, but I'd like people to not be so hard on certain people if they're also the ones that are
Yeah.
up to no good as well, or
And
that have done it just haven't gotten caught for it. It's like just because you haven't gotten caught for it doesn't mean that you're not doing something
yeah,
wrong as well.
I just feel like, the 2 day ban, personally, I'm totally okay with. And I know Coxie will never do that shit again. Because imagine the fucking backlash if he did it again, like everyone was caught on stream again.
Hmm.
So the 2 day was enough for him to stop, I personally believe, which is cool. But the just what it looks like as, for the rest of the community, it's almost just like, oh, you're just going to get a slap on the wrist, just cheat once and you'll be fine. And that's what one of my friends told me before I got perm banned for auto clicking. Oh, dude, don't worry. If you get caught, it'll just be a 2 day and then just never do it again. I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay, perm banned the next day. Like, there is no
Faded.
rhyme or reason for why,
Yeah,
for how long. So,
that would be my like if we're saying, the main thing, what's wrong with the rules, it's like just consistency is
yeah.
and if you have a rule, if it's written there, I would like it enforced how it's, what I mean? I don't want some sort of interpretation. Like the rules aren't art. I'm not supposed to look at it and be like, "Oh, how does this make you feel?" It's like the rules are
Yeah.
supposed to be the rules, and that's why there's so many people that are genuinely confused when it's like, I'm pretty sure I saw someone recently got banned for using Open OSRS, and the guy was like, "Oh, wait, I'm not allowed to use this client?" Like,
Oh, yeah. What was his name? That PKer guy.
yeah, it's a PK. He's like, "I'm not using it for PKing plugins. I'm just using it because I don't know. You think he said saves my login information or something like that?" Um, and yeah, and then the mod responded with, "You're not allowed to use Open OSRS. Like, you just basically snitched on yourself."
Yeah. You just
But like,
incriminated yourself.
the guy, the person, at least it seems like there's people out there that genuinely don't know, like they're not allowed to use that client if you're not using any of the features that are deemed on that list or whatever. So it's like just be way more clear. I said this even when that exhaustive, like this list is not exhaustive, but if you use these specific features, it's like there's still some sort of, it's not too clear as to what is and what isn't. And it doesn't help when you had like, pretty sure Mod Matt K went on one of the podcasts and was like, you won't be banned for account sharing unless you do it for competitive rank. So it's like, why don't you put that in the rules of RuneScape then? Because it's going to completely deter people away from account sharing if they go to the rules. Like if someone's new, reads the rules of RuneScape, they'll be like, okay, I'm not allowed to account share. But then they have all these other people that are telling them, they start watching streams and they start logging on to like different PK builds and their friend's account, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, so I, so you can do this? And it's just such a gray area.
Yep. And there really is no. That's like such a dumb thing to say. Is like you can account share, just don't do it for competitive reasons. What? Where is the line for that? Because you can't just say that. Because where are you drawing the line when you start skilling at all, gaining any XP, or like you're in the top 100, top 1,000, or top 100 of a skill for like, you can't just say that. Like it has to be a bannable offense, like all account sharing, because if it isn't, then nothing can be. Because where
Yeah.
do you draw the line? I mean, sure, draw the line somewhere, but then everyone will just compete up to that point or something. So it doesn't work, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think that ties in right with like services, how we started talking about this. Like services, account sharing, only way you're getting it out, banning account sharing. Like
Yep.
that's it.
All right. Skill hopping versus grinding skills straight to 200 mil. Dr. Neron wants to know your thoughts.
Over, I'm sure I've had like, I think if I go to Hans, I think I have like over 1,000 days in game. Like whereas, so I have like 25,000 hours, I think, on this account plus. So this is a common topic because back in the day, there used to be this idea that you're less of a person, not less of a person in general, but like less of a
Subhuman.
less of a skiller, I guess, or less of a quote unquote, you know, good skiller
Yeah.
if you can't do 200 mil in a skill straight. It's like if you can do that, then you're a real gamer. But if you skill hop, it's looked as like a form of weakness. I think I personally think anyways, there could maybe be some old heads that think that way still, but like for me, I think skill hopping is the way to go about it. I personally started out doing 200 mil straight. I did 200 mil cooking straight, then 200 mil smithing straight. Then I think I did thieving and hunter straight. I forget the timeline. Like I've been hit so many times in the head during hockey that I think I do have some sort of like concussion problems. But the timeline doesn't really matter. I did
Yeah.
a bunch of 200 mils straight, and then I think I got to wood cutting, and that's when I started skill hopping a bit because with wood cutting, obviously you get fire making XP. So I did those skills together, and then I think that's when I started shifting with the mentality, which I still keep to this day, of jumping from two skills the entire way. So instead of doing one skill straight to 200 mil, I typically go for two skills, I guess you would say. Like my most recent ones, while I was juggling rune crafting, I did Slayer as well. And I kind of pair it up. Like right now, I'm doing mining with prayer, just hit like 100 mil prayer.
Grats. I heard you got base 100 mil stats. Very
I
nice.
did, yeah, thank you. So yeah, I just did that in like the same day. I did 100 mil mining, 100 mil prayer, and then with the speed of prayer, I do like 6 hours of prayer, and that like leaves me 2 weeks of mining XP. Kind of just go back and forth with those right now. That's what I'm currently doing, and I think it helps with me personally. I think it comes down to personality, but I think if you were to try to like plan out an account, I guess, to go for 200 mil all, my advice would be skill hop so that you're not just draining yourself with the same thing over and over and over every day.
So, what made you realize that 200 mil all was possible? Or did you
Um,
always kind of think that in your mind that it was possible? But
I I'm gonna give you the answer that helps my mental motivation, and I'll give you like an explanation as to why I'm saying it this way. But I personally never think that I'm actually going for 200 mil all. Even right now, like I have 1,400 efficient hours left. Technically, in terms of EHP, I'm putting up like 300 to 350 a month. So like I'm on pace to get it 4.5 months. I think to till like there's a week left, I'll still say I'm not going for 200 mil. All I'm doing is I'm going for as many 200 mils as I can because in the blink of an eye, COVID restrictions may be taken away. I might be back at work 40 hours a week. My playtime goes down. Uh, there's so many things that happen in life to me, not to me specifically, but I mean like there's so many things that happen in life,
yeah,
comma, to me it doesn't make sense to say like this big claim. I try in my mind it helps me um stay not stay humble, but stay motivated and not be overwhelmed with the daunting task of, I mean, it's still 1,500 hours, right? I mean, 1,500 hours, there's people, I mean, majority of people, to be honest, will say, I'm never going to max. Like max is 1,300, 1,200 efficient hours.
is it really that low now?
In terms of EHP,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
EHP
But
is, yeah,
still, that's so
yeah.
crazy.
So like I still have like over 1,000 hours of efficient gameplay left that I still don't want to think that way. And that's how I thought the entire way. So I guess to answer the question, I still don't think I'm going to get 200 mil all right now.
It's just the next 200 mil you're getting. Well, that's cool. So, what are your goals? I mean, I know you're not going for it, but what are your goals for after 200 mil all?
Um,
Like, what do you see yourself doing like the next day? Like, let's say that, and then what's your plans for like the future?
I'm probably like this might sound cringy, and I don't really care to be honest, but this is a huge like life achievement to be honest with you. This is massive if it does happen. So I'm going to actually like not celebrate, have like an actual party IRL, but I'll probably have, like a nice meal, treat myself to maybe a nice steak dinner. And then I just think after that, I'd like to find more of a long-term career. Um, not to say that my job isn't like a serious job that I'm doing. I'm still working like a Monday to Friday. It's just not something that I haven't moved up the ladder, I guess. I'm still like that frontline staff where I'd
Yeah.
like to take my, experience, get like a managerial role or, just be higher up and start a long-term career rather than just a job. In terms of in-game, I'll be going back. Like I have 19 pets or 20 pets. I got all the Slayer, well, not all, sorry. I guess I can't even say that. Yeah. Frick, I don't have all of them. But the Slayer pets that I do have are like, Thermi, Kraken, those type of pets, Hydra. I still have to get like some of them.
Do you have any
But
of the DK's pets?
yeah, I have all the DK's pets on the
Really?
main.
Because
Yeah.
I have you loaded up on my high score thing. Damn, you got
Yeah.
H1 under drop rate. I mean,
Yeah, so
barely, but yeah.
that I don't know if it was asked too or when did I start taking 200 mil serious or something like that. It kind of intertwines with PVMing and stuff. But to answer that specific question, what are my plans? Basically, just play less, maybe go a little more quote unquote mainstream with the live streams, turn it into a PVM slash pet guy, and go back to the humble roots, which is where I began. And I kind of went up. Like if you check my EHP graph, it kind of looks funny. It goes like on an arc up, and then I graduate university 2017, get a full-time job. I flatline, and then that's when I started like camping DKs strictly and stuff like off task, like no skilling whatsoever. Um, and then I got cleaned in August 2018. We'll never forget it. And that's when I like, did the old sit down conversation with myself. I got to take myself serious if I actually want to get 200 mils. And that's when I started actually skilling, um, in my mind, strictly skilling. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm looking at the
going,
graph right now.
yeah, I'll be going back to the PVN roots.
Okay. Um, Here's kind of a good question, I guess, that I saw on Twitter. Just kind of pull it up. Navis asks, well, he asked two parts, and I guess we kind of already covered what makes a good skiller in your opinion. And I think what it really comes down to is, well, actually, I guess we can go into it. We just barely covered
Hmm.
it. But also, we have a question afterward. If you could restart your OSR's journey, would you still go for 200 mil all? So, first things first, what makes a skiller a good skiller in your opinion?
I think you also have to ask the question, as to, well, there's many different types of skillers as well. Like there can be a long-term macro efficient beast, or you can have those micro efficient guys that are dropping like absolutely insane hours of skilling or skilling methods, like people that can, I don't even know what the heck the method's called, but fire blonde, smelt, berry bones, and imbue, or like just like
Jesus
not even, you
Christ.
can't imbue because you'd be on standard spellbook, but basically doing like five skills in one inventory while you're fire making. Like to me, I've got old man wrists. Like I'm not going to ever be able to do that. So I give props to those are beast micro. You typically, anyways, now, not offending anyone, but typically you you don't see those type of players going long term
Yep.
for the most part. And if they do, it typically wouldn't be doing the method like that. So I think there's really cool skillers and good skillers that make cool clips or YouTube videos. And that to me, that's a good skiller. Like that person's got beast clicks. But if I'm, to me, I like to look at like the kind of the whole package. Like you don't necessarily need to be a tick god to be a good skiller in my eyes. I think consistency, longevity is the most impressive thing in my eyes. I typically don't look at day records or week records. I look at month and year personally.
I agree.
And I like EHP over XP personally.
I agree with consistency as I don't know. I guess as a skiller, I think, or not, I'm not saying I'm a skiller, but I'm like as a skiller, you should be. I think consistency is the biggest sort of factor, key indicator. Um, Again with like longevity, because like you'll see, because honestly, like the people that have powered through to 200 mil all, or the people that are continuing to power through, and have played this game, like since release, like I'm talking about you, I'm talking about like a bunch of different people. They are just even the people. So I'm comparing you guys that are continuing to game and continuing to like go on, even though the game's evolving and stuff like that. Like you guys are better skillers than those that have burnt out. And like obviously there's different reasons for burning out, like IRL and stuff. But like that is where like the true skiller comes in, where it's like you can keep pushing on even when like you're demotivated or you have IRL stuff that's going on. I think that is what defines like a great skiller in my eyes. So no disrespect to those that have burnt out. Like I know it's kind of, I don't know. I'll just mention a few, but like I know Lelador burnt out. He was one of the all like really good skillers in my opinion, just in my eyes. And he burnt out. I don't know what he's doing IRL, but like I can't qualify him as like a great skiller anymore, simply the fact that he didn't keep going. Where it's
Hmm.
like, and the same with like Autumn Elegy. He's great skiller, but like then he just burns out. And I know you're like, I know that might not be a great I don't know. It's just my opinion, I guess. But I consider
If
the great skillers that keep going.
Yeah, it's also interesting to like if you think of are we only counting, one account or like because I think now he plays UIM,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Free to play UIM.
So like I think there's also categories of like, legendary or, iconic skillers like Automology, yeah, he didn't last for the long term, but definitely, his skilling guides and things like that. Like there's different things that would, I guess, categorize you as to what type of skiller you
That's true.
are. But like I guess like yeah, if you're looking and saying, what makes a skiller good, in my opinion, as someone who's pushing for as many 200 mils as possible, like it would just be that like, the more EHP you have, kind of the better you are, as like a measurement. Because obviously 200 mils can be, let's say someone has a bill XP in viables versus a bill XP in gatherers. There's just a lot more time investment involved with the gatherers than viables, but that's another debate. You can get into viable versus gatherers and what's better to go for and what's more impressive, and no gatherer wall in 2021, and there's just so many things that you could discuss. But yeah, the main thing is longevity. If you look
Yep.
at someone and they've got, like 400 plus EHP month, like that's a gamer that they can keep up that type of efficiency for that many consistent hours back to back. You wake up, you think, I got to do this for another 15 hours for like 30 days of doing this for 15 hours. It's very impressive
Yeah.
to stay on track.
And there's so many other factors, like you said, that can be defined as a skiller. But what I compared was just simply the consistency and time played, I guess.
Yeah,
So I agree with you. I think that's the biggest factor. But there always is those like beast skillers, like Automology. No disrespect whatsoever. Like he was a great skiller, but like you know, just in
yeah,
the fact of consistency and stuff. Obviously, he's not.
100%.
Yeah,
I would agree with you there too. I wasn't downplaying you. I would agree with you. It's just he's almost like in his own category too because of the whole
yeah,
YouTube stuff as well, right? Him
exactly.
specifically. And then I think the restart your OSRS journey. Would you still go for 200 mil all? Um, I would have to say like I've done. I think my account has like over 700 efficient hours bossed. Let me quickly look. I definitely have done a lot of bossing because yeah, 719 efficient hours boss. So like all of my hours bossed are like pre 2017. So I don't know. It definitely wasn't quote unquote efficient because I was like killing DKs with like bandos, boots, and arma crossbow in a duo trio back in the day. So I do have a lot of hours in bossing and obviously a lot of hours in skilling. And the most fun that I've had on this game has been when I've been skilling. So I think I still would do what I do. I think I would just potentially go about it in a different manner. Like my account would look a lot different now, I think. Like I would have saved Slayer all the way to the end, used and abused Volcanic Mine a lot more as my zero time. Like now, whenever I go to my girlfriend's, I do Volcanic Mine on the laptop while we're like watching Netflix and stuff like that. Um, Whereas if I did that earlier on, I'd be already 200 mil mining and working on a different skill.
Yeah,
So like the way I would go about it would be different, but I still think I'd still be doing 200 mils.
What are your thoughts on collection log? I know you're gonna be more casual in pet hunting and PVM. Do you have any? Because I know Jace. Jace is one of the few that got 200 mil all, and now he is going for like post skilling goals and like pretty extreme goals as well. Like, do you have any desire to kind of compete in that area of pets and collection log at all?
I wouldn't say I do have some interest, yeah, for sure. Like there's some bosses that really interest me. I used to do like Zulrah as an alt. I have like over 15,000 KC. So I don't have a mutagen on the main, but I have everything else like without mutagen. So like I'd go back there, get mutagens. So like that would be collection, like all pets collection. I have 1,200 totems for Skatizo. That sounds like a lot of clues
Jesus,
that I can
yeah.
do.
Oh, that
So
sounds so nice. Give me those.
let's go do 200 mil Slayer. But yeah, so like definitely some interest. I won't say like I have a goal of completing the entire collection log, but there are some things that definitely pique my interest. Like I've done, I don't know, close to 100 masters already on my main account, so I do have interest in other things in the game 100%.
Would you play in a competitive manner, or would it just be for your own achievement after 200 mil all? Like, would you do
I
most
would
things in a competitive kind of form?
think right now I would say I would do them casually and just com collect as many things as I can collect. But I'm very self-motivated. Like this entire account, when I do talk to like maybe up and comers or people that want like advice, I try to push them to just be self-motivated. Don't try to push yourself through someone else. Like I take the life advice of like don't find happiness in others. Be happy with yourself first and then be happy with others because the only person's actions that you can control is your own and your attitude towards things. So if you're very self-motivated, then that will last you hopefully forever. You still stay self-motivated the entire time. Whereas when I find myself competing against others, potentially a little bit of a letdown if they just flat out burn or things like that. But I guess to each their own. So I think I would say I would be self-motivated, but in the back of my mind, it's always something that would be said, I guess, like comparisons of like, oh, you're going for this, so is Jace, and then you kind of get that.
Yeah,
I'm a competitive person in general. Like I've played sports
yeah.
my whole life, so like
If you go for
it
200
would,
mil all, you're naturally competitive.
yeah, it would be a just a straight up lie if I was to say like I don't compare myself to others, but I try to limit that as much as possible because I find it there's just so many things like you can't compare yourself to everyone the same because everyone's different. Like me comparing myself to someone who doesn't have any obligations or someone who has a lot more obligations, like who has kids and a fam, like it's
Yep.
just the comparison is very hard. So I try to not compare myself, but I think it's just human nature that eventually I'll uh I'll go down that path of grinding. It's like in my nature to do so.
So so this is kind of, I guess, sort of like a pointless question, but like, did when you first started, were you in like when you first started going for 200 mils? Do you kind of regret going for cooking or smithing? Do you wish you had gone for more of a respectable one and gotten like a super high rank? Like what were like the ranks you could have gotten? Like a permanent rank of a skill. Like do you regret going for kind of easy ones and not getting a because rank 7 smithing is obviously very high, but like was that the
Mhm.
one you would have chosen?
Um, it's hard to say because looking back on it, it's like, yeah, you'd love to be that guy who's just, top five in mining or something like that, super like RC or something like that.
Yeah.
Mind you, RC was completely different back then. Like those guys are doing nature runs. Like,
I know.
no thanks. So like, there's always this like not devil and angel on your shoulder, but these two contradictory ideas of do I go for this really respectable slow skill early on or do I wait? Because like
Because it'll
to
get
me,
faster.
yeah, like to me, I was getting 250K an hour rune crafting. Like I'm literally 10 times as fast I did 200 mil RC than someone who would have done double nats, right? So it's like to me, I don't regret it. It's something that has opened the door, like doing 200 mil cooking and being able to do that kind of gets your confidence going a little bit as well, where it's like, okay, I was able to actually get a 200 mil. Whereas if you were to go for something that's, thousands of hours right off the bat, could be a little more of like a demotivating,
Yeah.
big mountain to climb. And I may have just burnt out right away. So I think it's when people ask me, what should I do? I always tell them to go for base 20 mil and then from there, see what skill you enjoyed the most and work your way up. I personally try not to go for 200 mil. I try to go like, go for 50 mil hunter. If you're enjoying it, go for 100 mil hunter. I usually advise people to go for like the like 200 to 300K an hour skills off the start. So it gives you a little bit of, it's not so super fast, but it's not super slow. Kind of dip your feet in the water, gives you a taste of what the grind would be like.
What was your least favorite meta change, and what was your most favorite meta change? I have on my own as well after you.
See, this one is almost the same answer, to be honest. But and it came to my mind because it recently happened. Sepulcher would be,
Huge meta change.
yeah, it's almost I don't want to say least. I don't like that because there's so many meta changes over the years that um, I'd have to go through all of them and be like, what specifically? But to me, agility getting nuked like by 30% increase in one update went from 70K an hour to 100K an hour. Um, that's crazy in one single update, right? The game, I think already was meta for like, I don't know how long it's been in the game, 5 years, I want to say at least. So going from, 62.3K an hour, then Brim turned EHP to 70K an hour. Then Sepulcher just takes it from, 60 to 70K an hour to, 95 to 100. That just, I get it that you know, it's a very active game. I was going to call it a mini game, but skilling method. I haven't done it personally, so I can't speak on, how much attention you need to pay.
Yeah.
But I've seen calculations. People are saying you make 6 bill off rings.
Yep.
I don't know current prices, but
I
uh,
guess I'll give my thoughts on Sepulcher. I've only done maybe 50 laps or something. Just because it's not in my immediate plans. But it is super super fun. I'll give it that. It takes a lot of skill to like get good at it initially. It's very demotivating at first. Um and it's just kind of daunting at first, honestly. The thing is about Sepulcher is they literally said before it was released it would be 80K an hour. Like, and now it's it can get like 95K, like pretty. If you're like good, if you put in a lot of hours into it, you can get 95K hours. And like, so there's one of the issues. The other issue is how much fucking loot you get. And I'm thinking of for like an Ironman perspective. And although it's fun and that should really be like the place you go to train agility because I think it's really fun. It should have either been like significantly lower XP rates with the loot or no, absolutely no loot, and you can get like 95k an hour. That would have been fine. But the fact that you get both in extreme, like literally 6 bill, that's pretty insane to get paid that much and to have like fun doing agility and to cut the time like big time by like 30%. That's just kind of
Yeah,
silly.
like people were saying it's justified. You have to pay so much attention and you can't money make during it. It's like you're getting 5 bill in rings. And it's just not true. With like current meta money making, you go to RS3, click 1 minute once every 5 minutes on a spiritual warrior alt on RS3, swap it over. I've seen people run like multiple spiritual warrior accounts on RS3 while doing sepulcher for EHP. So on top of the rings, you're still money making as well. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it would have been easier for me to take the L on, 200, well, I'm not 200 mil yet. I'm 196 agility, but I'd gladly say, all right, I'd wasted some time doing RD and have Sepulcher be like 80, 85 max in my opinion.
Yeah.
I just don't like one single update going crazy. Like
Yeah.
Slayer EHP2 when like Catacombs came in, it went from like 45k, 50k an hour to like 90k an hour. It's like
I know it
that's
doesn't. I know this one doesn't
huge.
affect you, but like the Chaos Altar for Iron Man literally cut time in half for prayer. One update.
Yeah,
And
it's really
yeah.
like yeah, it's just not fun when you see an update
Yeah,
like
it's
that that
so
just like
bad.
murders it.
It's so bad. And like that's the same thing cuz I'm an Iron Man, so I think of like Zaya. Zaya was such a huge thing. Like literally there was an Ultimate Iron Man. Um what's their name? Who's the person that got 200 mil RC first on a UIM? It's like Andre or I don't
Beats me.
starts with an A. Anyway, but like that would have never been possible for an Ultimate Iron Man to get 200 mil RC, and then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, just AFK here for thousands of hours, just literally AFK and watch Netflix, watch a few like series, like that's how easy it became.
Andra, ha, something.
Andra, there it is, right?
Andra, yeah,
Yeah, there it is. And also Winter Todd, like
yeah.
Winter Todd was just bad.
I was doing 200 mil fire making at that time, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get top 50, just all these like people that burnt or weren't playing, came back, AFK Winter Todd, just so many people that wouldn't have gotten 200 mil fire making
Yep.
potentially now can just chill.
It's and you get rewarded for it. That's the bad thing is when they come out these new like meta. Obviously, that's not meta for
Iron Man
mains.
meta though, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Especially the hopping method if you do that. But like literally, it's why does there need to be rewards as well, like on top of it all? Like the reward should decrease the XP, and that's what I thought about Sepulcher. My idea, and I released it on the first week Sepulcher was out. I made a ramble about it, saying like, if you loot that final chest, you should be docked XP. Like your final XP drop should be cut by like 25%. Just the fact that you are getting a reward now, because that's what they were saying, and that's what Husky was saying before it was released. You either choose to loot, or like and lose XP, or you like don't loot at all and you get a bunch more XP, but you don't get any loot. And like it completely defeated the purpose because the only chest that's really worth it is the final one, and it literally loses you like 10 seconds. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
The
silly.
it's just typical though, and like I mean, Zaya rune crafting was pulled, and I'm pretty sure it said it's a high click intensive method in the question. So it's like they don't, not to say they don't know what they're doing, but it's like 80K an hour, 85K an hour max. It's like once that gets in the hands of skillers, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah. And like here's the thing that kind of bothers me. This is like it's like tough to say whether they should do this or not. But when they set an XP rate and they're so firm on it, like they're just panicking to like ever make it go any higher than that, it makes the skill dull. And that's what we saw with Wintertodd. They were so obsessed with keeping it at like a certain XP. Same with Zaya rune crafting. It's like these arbitrary like time stalls where like you physically can't do any other action. You just have to wait for like the dense essence to mine, or you have to wait for the fletching to wait 3 ticks before it finally like starts the action. Like those little annoyances that keep the skill balance. I hate that. Like I understand they're trying to that's like the only way they can prevent higher XP rates. But if that's the way you're gonna do it, just make it a higher XP. Just make it lower and make it like make the potential XP rate go higher. Because like I don't know, whenever they say an XP rate, it's usually like 25% higher than what they like pull anyway. That's the same with volcanic. Wasn't volcanic mine pulled at like 80K, 85K?
Yeah, something like that. Which, in all honesty, is not too far off if you're in a group setting. Um,
Yeah, I've
it's
actually
just
yeah
you shouldn't be able to like VM. I don't know, 85K an hour for VM. I think it should be just a little bit lower than that. But the fact that you can also like drop things, I don't know if potentially that would be something where they don't allow dropping in the mine, because when I'm doing a 2+2 boost, which for those that don't know, it's like my main account with an alt and then someone else's main account with their alt. There's 5 positions for the boulder during a volcanic mine. When it gets to the 5th position, both of our alts would drop the dragon pickaxe and mine it with a bronze pickaxe, which allows our main account to have a better chance at receiving rune fragments or any sort of fragment in general, which equates to more points, which equates to more XP. Like you can get like
interesting.
105K an hour doing that method. So
But that's the thing. Like honestly, at that point, with that because that takes effort to do. Like it's not
for
just
sure.
so I actually over time I've kind of just accepted like you know what VM is pretty balanced. Like you can't ever get over 3 tick 4G rates. Like that's balanced, and like the people that get 100 over 100K an hour are actually putting in a decent amount of like effort. You know, like it might not be click intensive like APM wise, but at least they have to kind of focus.
You, you do have to, yeah, you do have to.
Like be
ah,
aware slightly.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like if this method, like I'm doing it right now. Like I'm on 2 accounts, and so like the timer right now is at 6:40, and I'm just chilling right here doing absolutely nothing. Like I'm playing other alts as well to keep my like attention.
Yeah.
So the boulder just broke. I'm moving over to the next spot. We're at 6:30 on the clock. Now I am clicking. I clicked for about 5 seconds. I'm mining the rock at like 6:23, and I'm no longer moving whatsoever for the next minute. And that's how VM is. It's you click for about 5 to 15 seconds, and then you chill and literally do nothing at all for 45 seconds to like a minute. So that's where I have like a little bit of a problem, because there's just so much downtime here. You do have to
Yeah.
do stuff and pay attention, but to be able to get point 0.8, 0.85 EHP in a skill like mining, it just it sucks, I guess. But I mean, I'm here, I'm doing it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. But um, yeah, I mean, that's not any meta shifts, sepulcher stuff like that, where I just don't even think. that it should be that high to begin with. I have no problem with it being in the game. It's just that's some crazy XP that has been brought in, literally cutting the skill down by a third
So what was your
almost.
favorite meta change? I don't know if we already.
Now this is interesting because it involves sepulcher because I'm a big I'm a big fan of two tick methods. So with Crystal Harpoon and Sepulcher, the meta has changed now for EHP to be two tick fishing because Sepulcher is so high for agility, it's no longer like efficient to do barb. And then it's no longer efficient to do swimming for your agility and thieving. So now Pyramid Plunder is EHP. So I really enjoyed Plunder for my 200 mil thieving, and I really enjoyed two ticking teaks for 200 mil woodcutting, and I have enjoyed two tick fishing. So the fact that EHP has now shifted from like barb and swimming to two tick fishing, plunder, and sepulcher, I'm actually a really big fan of that specifically. So like in terms of recent meta changes, that would be one of them, and I'm glad that um, EHP was changed for runners because for a long time it was not accurate on temple. It was like 2+1, which no one was doing for 160k an hour. It's shifted back to four runners, and I like where runecrafting is at, to be honest. So I would say like yeah, RC and I guess the trio of fishing, agility, and thieving would be my like favorite meta shifts as of late.
I'm curious what's going to happen with the Arceus spell book. They're coming out with that thieving spell where you can block being stunned by an additional 15%, making it 40% with dodgy necklaces.
Hmm.
And I know BC Guppy was saying like thieving Vires is going to be pretty close to Pyramid Plunder with basically just clicking just the same spot and eating occasionally and using the spell. Um, Kind of, I don't know. Like I know you just said like you like Pyramid Plunder and stuff. I don't think this spell will actually make it better than Pyramid Plunder because I'm just thinking I think Vires are the thing that are going to become the closest because of this new update.
Has anyone looked into heroes
Um,
or
Pickpocketing
gem
heroes.
knights? Yeah.
I think Vires are just better actually because initially Vires came out with like basically the same success rate as elves, and I'm pretty sure heroes kind of have the same success rate if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
Yeah,
But
I've just been hearing as soon as they saw that terrible drawing that was done and it showed Shadow Veil with 25% increase stacks with dodgy necklace or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
The people were like 315k an hour at um, Gem Knights. This is going to be like meta. And then people have been saying also to me that it's not going to be that good anyways because there's a cooldown timer on it for a minute, I think.
So there's a cooldown timer, but you can keep using it. As far as I know, you can like because the spell lasts for a minute and
And
then
there's a cooldown timer for that minute, not like the spell lasts for a minute, then there's a cooldown timer
yeah,
after the spell
I'm
has
pretty
stopped.
sure there isn't even a cooldown timer for it. I could like double check, but I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure it's just it lasts for as long as it does, and then as soon as it wears out, you can just reuse it again.
Right. And then people were saying also too, like the Gem Knight success rate is already so high that this
It won't.
percentage of increase won't
Yeah,
really make a
that's
difference.
exactly because
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how much XP you get per pickpocket there, but you get like 300 at Vires, and which is pretty significant. But it's like a 60% rate as of right now. And then with dodgy necklaces and that spell, it's gonna be pretty good. I think it's gonna get up to like 260k or two like I'm like just pulling a number out of my ass, so don't quote
Yeah,
me on
yeah.
this, but I think it's like 260k an hour, which is
Mm.
like real, and it's money making. Like you're getting blood shards, which are worth a lot, and you get two per whenever you get that pickpocket. So
Yeah, the I would I would not like to see that become like meta because I don't know. I'm a fan of at least interacting with the game. I wouldn't want to be getting one-to-one EHP spam clicking. Like Artie Knights, I think at one point were almost EHP. So
yeah,
a lot of people were just spamming Artie Knights back in the day before the coin pouch and stuff. And
yeah,
that's just like
stupid.
not fun. Yeah, just spam clicking is I don't think how you should uh not want to because you can obviously do whatever you want, but just doesn't seem really fun to me to be honest.
Yeah, they. Something that kind of bothers me about just pickpocketing in general is there are like arbitrary exceptions of like what can be left click pickpocketed and what can't. Like
Hmm.
already nights, you can just left click them. Obviously, there's coin pouches, but like everything has coin pouches now. But like Vires, you have to right click unless you set it up perfectly. You can get that like one click, whatever it's called in the settings, where you can just make your mouse one click. But it's like,
Hmm.
dude, the obnoxiousness of just making it so you have to right click this is just so stupid. Like just make it left click. You still have to pay some attention because it hits you fives and you have to eat. You have to bring brews. You have to equip your dodgy necklaces and stuff. It's not as easy as Artie Knights, but like just make it left click. The whole right click bullshit is just tedious for like no reason. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but
There'll be a menu entry swap for it, I'm sure.
I don't
If
know.
there's not.
Hopefully one day. I know they changed it with because like ham members used to have that for a time back when they like made all those changes with like third party clients and like Rune Light, but
Yeah.
that was just so stupid. Like, why? Like, it's a fucking ham member. Just not changing any goddamn metas. Just let us left click them. Yeah. Same thing with the elves. They just quit making us right click. Like, god damn it. Just get rid of the talk option. But yeah.
There's some things that they're okay with making completely brain dead, and then others where it's like, why not just follow suit? You've already done all this. Why why this?
Like, I actually sort of hate the fact that pickpocketing is any sort of meta. It's not like meta, but it's like efficient for Iron Men to get like crystal shards from thieving, which is really dumb. I don't feel like thieving should ever have been this powerful. Where it's like these are now like the ways to get crystal shards. These are the ways to get blood shards if you want them. Like they should really have a more interactive way that's like different than fucking spam clicking a guy over and over. But whatever. Because I have to thieve like 50,000 crystal shards for the Dragonstone armor eventually. So I have to get a bunch of those. And like the way to do it is to thieve, which is just obnoxious.
Yeah, thieving's kind of held back by its just the skill in general is you're stealing from someone or something, so it's just like spamming a chest, spamming an urn, spamming a NPC or something like that. Not very interactive
Yeah.
typically.
All right. Somebody just quickly asked, like, well, they already answered this. What was your favorite skill, Slayer? But what is your PB mining hour?
Um, let me, I have picture proof because I don't know. A lot of people, for a lot of people hold mining in this very, like put it on a pedestal, and your hours mean a lot to some people. So I took a picture of this and sent it to someone out of, just to give it to them a little bit, like, haha, beat you by 1K. Um, Let me look. It was 134 something. PB mining. Here we go. I can send it to you so you can
Yeah.
confirm. Um, so there it is on Discord. 134.1 for an hour. Um, it's actually crazy how much RNG. I didn't like. I've never been one to do granite long term. I've done once I figured out how chill VM was, I started doing it as my zero time at my girlfriend's. Like I was explaining, I just did it pretty later on in my account. So I got to like 50 mil mining all through just being at my girlfriend's and VMing. So when I started learning Granite, I was like, geez, this is uh, definitely something that I haven't done in a long time in terms of the actions per minute. Um, and I was finding myself like there's a plugin, the mining plugin itself, when it says like mining, not mining, and it shows you the ores per hour that you're getting. I had that on for whatever reason. I don't know if it was maybe on some like job accounts. I had it on so I know when I'm mining and not mining. Um, and I was tracking the ores per hour that I was getting during Granite, and I was getting like 1550 or like 1600, and I'd get like 124, 125k an hour, and then I'd go and get 128, 129k an hour, and then I look back at my ores per hour, and it was five more ores in that hour I was able to get, but I got over 5k an hour more
Yep.
because I was just the RNG of you know that plate body kicking in and
Yep.
getting you more, that bonus. So it's like it's crazy just to see how the fluctuation of like, oh, you could be doing good hours and just kind of be getting a little screwed over on RNG, or you could be doing not your best and still be getting 1-to-1 because of the RNG of the skill.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it kind of reminds me of Nightmare PBs because, like, mining, like doing 3-tick 4G, once you're good at it, once you're like fluent in just doing it well, it really just comes down to RNG. Just don't miss ticks and then just pray that you get good RNG because I think of Nightmare, like people getting like Nightmare PBs or whatever. It doesn't have like anything to do with you really. As long as you just do your kill to the best of, like you can. It's just all
Hmm.
dependent on your scythe and your harmonized orbs. Like it doesn't matter like what you do. Like you can literally lose. You can do the exact same kill at Nightmare and lose 2 minutes just based off RNG, like your hits. Like just lose or gain 2 minutes. And that's exactly what the mining, because isn't the average mining hour you're supposed to get if all your XP's average out is like 132k or like almost 133k?
I I know EHP is 123 for mining, and I think that needs to be upped a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm definitely no uh this this is still probably like I'm not very good at Granite. I keep maybe like 125 to like 128k an hour while I was streaming. Like I've done it because a lot of people ask then, what's your XP per hour? What's your XP per hour? I typically don't track my XP per hour when I'm just doing gaming like
Yeah.
sessions because I start looking at it and you know what I mean? It just throws you off a little bit. You keep focusing on it, then you're thinking about it. So the only time I really track it is when I am streaming so that people can see for themselves and just stop asking. Um, and yeah, when I've done that, it's been around like 125, 126.
Yeah. It's all like basically it all comes down to just dropping the rocks within that first tick and then clicking back on the rock. Because if you don't drop the rocks in time, then you lose that second roll.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I think the average, at least what I saw, was like 132 or 133k. So like anybody that gets above that, it's like genuinely just you had a good RNG. And like the people that, I think somebody got a 6 hour where I can't even remember who it was, but whoever has the record for the 6 hour, that basically they got like it's like a 90%, or it's like a 90% chance that you won't get that even if you like never miss ticks, basically.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't looked into it, but I've heard that as well, where it's like you can't even do this, even if you were, tick perfect yourself.
Yeah, like you'd have to
It's
do it
just
like 10
RNG.
times, tick perfectly
Yeah.
just to like average get that rate, you know?
The mining, like stuff is so competitive, like the day records and stuff. It's just like a 30 hours of like 130K an hour for 30 hours straight and stuff like that. It's crazy to see the guys that go for those records in the mining skill. It's
I
definitely
think
not going to be one of those guys.
I think the more impressive thing is like sepulcher hours are very impressive, or like just sepulcher like records or whatever,
Hmm.
and 1.5 tick teaks. I think I know Bailey has that 6 hour record. Absolutely
Yep.
fucking crazy, because not only is it like really really precise clicks for 6 hours straight, but it's like you got to focus on what tree to go to next and losing as few ticks as possible. Um, I'm kind of I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of wanting to try my own hour of that now that I have, because I just the other day I got these new monitors that are 144 hertz, and I've always played on a 75 hertz monitor, and like just your mouse accuracy is so much worse with a lower refresh rate. And so I remember doing an hour where I got like 205K or something, and just so many mistakes that like it comes down to mouse accuracy and stuff. But the cool thing with 1.5 tick teaks is like there is an efficient way, like when a tree gets knocked down, you have to know exactly in that moment like which tree to go to next. Like, are you going to go to the far like left one, or are you going to just take your chances and like hope that the next tree doesn't stay I don't know, it's like there's so much more to it, like where 3 tick 4G is just literally the same thing over and over, just keep repeating it.
Yeah,
1.5 tick is so much. 1.5 tick takes is the most impressive like skilling method in my opinion.
I'd have to agree. I mean, I've never done it, but it looks, and from what people have said, it's a lot more attention and yeah, just overall clicks interaction and stuff like that.
You know what's super crazy? So I was trying this method. I actually want to kind of try it again now that I have these new monitors, but there's a method for Ironman where you can use the plank sack you get from Mahogany Homes, and you can plank make while you're chopping the trees at Fossil Island. And then as soon as you make the plank, you can deposit them into your bag. And so like the Iron Man way is to like bank the planks, obviously. Um, anyway, there's a way where you can actually be on like the lunar spellbook, and you can 1.5 tick like mahoganies or teaks or whatever you're gonna do. Mahoganies would be a lot easier because you're not getting as many logs in your inventory per hour. But there's a way where like you can actually plank, you can do the 1.5 tick action, move on the same tick, and then cast the plank make spell and then click back on the tree all within like a fucking tick. And it's like that is the most insane skilling method, and it would never be like really viable because it's just so fucking hard. But if you can pull it off, it is like the meta for Iron Man construction. If you like disclude or exclude excuse me, uh like Throne of Miscellanea, like getting a bunch of planks like for free there. If you were to just see construction as this only,
Hmm.
there's a way you could pull it off. But it's like I would want to see Bailey try it because I know Bailey's the king of teaks there. I want to see if he could do the lunar spell. Not like he needs to, but if he plays an Iron Man after 200 mil all, I'd love to see that. But yeah, that's definitely the most impressive skill method in my opinion. All right.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, that sounds crazy. It sounds like a cool clip, to be honest, rather than maybe a long-term thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
Uh,
not something you can maintain. Like, I mean, but then again, 1.5 tick teaks just alone is not something that most people can see them maintaining for long periods of
for
time.
sure.
But Bailey
Yeah,
can. So,
the argument of redwood zero time, like a lot of people stopped touching wood cutting in general when redwoods came out because they just do their zero time through redwoods.
yeah, I don't know. I think woodcutting's such a cool skill, and it just kind of sucks that people just use it as their like no skill base. Like it's just their zero time, just passively will get done. But what Let's see. Well, I'll ask a few topics. If you have any as well, you can ask them. But I have a few things. So one is who is the how do I say this? What player in OSRS like history do you look up to most? I should say.
Don't make me answer this.
You have to.
I've already answered this, and he gets a kick out of it every single time. And um, I would look up to those that juggle work and social life. So my answer to this was like I don't really look up, but I would say that in terms of competition or someone that I could strive, I guess that would be looking up to, strive to become like would be like Randy's account. So Randy, because
Randalicious.
Randalicious, yes. Uh, Past him by the way. But the
That's
yeah,
fucked,
the
man.
that sort of like he was ranked 2 in the Guinness World Records gaming edition. Um, Works girlfriend for I think they're on like 10 years now. Um, and has been able to maintain top page for over 5 years. So definitely something that I can relate to and try to strive towards, since those are kind of I'm in the same boat as him.
I like Randy. I like both of you guys because you guys are definitely not the typical, 200 mil all people that you think like degenerate kind of like lifestyle and decision making. You guys are definitely a lot more down to earth. Um, and yeah, that's kind of cool. I have a lot of respect for Randalicious, just because I don't know, like I've already mentioned this on a bunch of different Sae Bae Casts, but he was the first OSRS streamer I ever watched, and like I just remember being like, "Damn, that guy has so much XP." And that was back when like the game was revolved around just how much XP you have. Like that wasn't about how much theater of blood you'd done or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
It was like that was what made a cool account, and yeah, just like listening to Hex's podcast back in like 2015 and shit. Good times.
That's peak, man. Those
They're
streams
so
were
good.
the best. I still like I've been going down memory lane recently now that like we're kind of looking like we're closing in on the end this year and going back and watching old podcasts that, like Solus podcast, Omnia podcast, Hexus ones, stuff like that, that are ramble videos that bring back those older memories from like 5 years ago. They were it was it was fun time. I mean, not to say that it's not fun now. Like arguably, I'm having more fun than ever, especially like Hexus itself. Been a gen in there for like a year now, and definitely having a lot more fun overall than I was back then, but good memories back then.
So, is this the first time that you've hit top page, or have you been on top page before and got knocked down?
I was on top page in 2017.
Okay.
And then yeah, that little dip there, not little dip, that big dip after university finish. I was on for like a few months. Actually, I don't know if it was a few months in terms of XP. I know in terms of EHP it was, but like I was top 15. I think I peaked at rank 15 and then was off top page. But I don't know my EHP rank if it was top EHP rank for too long.
So, here's kind of a weird question, but somebody asks, and I know we've already kind of covered it, and we don't need to get into it too much, but basically, how do you have the time to go for 200 mil all? Like, and I'm not asking this because I understand, okay, old school's been out for 8 years. And when you start at the very beginning, time is gonna it's eventually gonna catch up to the point where like you don't have to play an insane amount, 18 hours a day, to be able to get 200 mil all. You just have to be consistent and have that as your goal, basically. But
Yeah.
what would you respond to that?
The initial thing is like I almost go back to the days where I'd play COD. If you ever played COD, I'd
Yeah.
be like 10 prestige, 70, and people would look and be like, "Dude, you're a nerd. Go outside." I'm like, "The game's been out for like 2 years, dude. Like, if
I
you're
know.
not 10th prestige by now, like, stop camping in the corner with some bouncing betties or claymores and move around. Go get some levels." But I know it's completely different because like 200 mil all is crazy amount of hours even to do it within 8 years. I'm pretty sure you have to play at least like 5 hours per day or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know the
efficiently, just
exact numbers.
every day.
Um, but it's all about in my so I've always I've had a part-time job since I was 14. So like 12 years I've been working. Um, always, obviously, I've been in school. I haven't stopped going to school. Like I didn't drop out in high school. Went to elementary school, high school, university for 4 years. Throughout that time, was able to maintain the part-time job and full-time university. And I think it's not really like I have this free time. Like I don't just have 12 hours every single day to just juggle RuneScape only, but it's been maintaining and finding the time to like multitask, I guess, and not really play RuneScape, more so just like AFKing it in the background while still completing things. Like I've been in a good position where I'm able to AFK at work. I mean, I don't do it sometimes, like depending on what's going on at work. Obviously, I'm not just on my computer the whole time playing Rooney, but I'm able to juggle some sort of XP. And then, I mean, in my opinion, hold on, my PC just lagged. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. In my opinion, like university, unless you're doing like, hands-on type of learning, typically, at least here in Canada, you sit in a big lecture hall, you listen to some person speak for 3 hours. So, like, I already have my laptop open. I'm able to just do something on the side while taking down notes and retaining information that they're saying. So, it's just been consistently doing that is what adds up over time. Like I've
Yep.
told people in general, like you're saying you don't have time to play RuneScape. How about instead of sleeping 9 hours, you sleep 8 hours, or instead of sleeping 8 hours, you sleep 7 hours, and then you play RuneScape for 1 hour
Or
more
or
per
watch
day.
Netflix for 4 hours straight.
Yeah, like watch
Yeah.
Netflix on the side while you're AFKing something. Like
Yeah.
if you increase your EHP output, like you play efficiently for 1 hour more per day, that's 365 efficient hours more that you're playing, which adds up over a long period of time. You play the game for 5 years, that's 1,500 hours plus that you've now combined. So the small zero time, quote unquote, and when you say zero time, it's like things that you're doing away from the PC. That's what's gonna like add up over time and make something bigger.
So you are close to, the end of top page filling up. What's going to happen after top page fills up? Is competitive skilling gonna kind of fall by the wayside? Do you think, or do you think there will still be? I mean, obviously there's still Iron Man high scores and stuff like that, but for main skilling, what do you think's going to happen? Like, what's the mood going to be set as after top page fills out?
I think there's gonna be a couple people. not a couple, that's two people. There's going to be a handful of individuals who are in that fight, I think, for like, 24 to 28 or something like that, where it's almost at that point, yeah, you might as well just finish, right? You're you're there. Um, I would like to say that people would still be competitive for top 50. I don't know if it would be to the same extent as to what it is right now. Like if you go and look at top EHP leaderboards right now, there's like there's like half people doing like 80 to 100 efficient hours played per week, and then you got the others that are doing about like 40 or so. So like they're still actively playing. I definitely don't look down on 40 efficient hours. That's like a full-time job that you're still playing RuneScape efficiently for. But not scared. Uh, how do I word this? It doesn't look too good in the sense of, like Solus, their generals right now are all on pace to finish 200 mil all this year. Omnia, all their generals seems to be on pace for 200 mil all this year. And then like Randy and I are on pace to finish this year for Hexus. Like we have Krisha, who's a gen that's like 7K up, so still a decent amount of time. But a lot of the long-term leaders of these clans will be finishing up. So I'm hoping that there's people out there, and I know there definitely is, that are motivated to still go for their personal goals of 200 mil all. It's just like you need to, I guess, this is the year you need to take leadership to be that person or group of people that will, I guess, be the change or be the difference or lead the group of skillers that are worried. Like I've had people say this, yeah, like, I'm after front page is filled up, what's the motivation to go for 200 mil all, or there's not going to be too many motivated skillers left. I mean, they're definitely going to be. It's just you guys need to stick together, and I'm sure not everyone's just going to leave. Like you got guys like Harmony, Hey Jace that are still around. I think Karma is 200 mil all, going for 200 mil all on RS3. It's just they're not as active, obviously, on old school. So the old the old heads that finish 200 mil all have to kind of stick around a little bit and do their due diligence to pass it on to the younger guys. I think it's going to slow down. There's going to be maybe like a shift of maybe a little bit of demotivation, and then people will kind of get back to gaming. There'll be like a lull in time, a stop,
Yeah.
and then kind of realize that it's not that big of a deal that front page is taken. Um,
I feel like they're
and
gonna
then
have to start coming out with like more. Um, I don't know. I guess I kind of see like, hey, Jace, like he's completed 200 mil all, but there's still more to do. Like it's almost like you kind of have to have it. Like we'll see, because obviously there's so few people that like have completed 200 mil all. We'll see in the future in the next couple of years. Like, will there be more competition after that to like, be the first person to get all pets and 200 mil all, and then be the first to fill out the collection log or whatever? Because I know the collection log is a big thing for mains now. It's kind of almost made mains in a way, sort of like an Iron Man. You have to now you have a way to show off what you've actually gotten by yourself.
yeah,
And I don't know. I kind of see it like there's always competition. And obviously there's other game modes, and there's new game modes probably coming out, Group Iron Man and stuff. But yeah, I just wonder with the main skilling, what's gonna happen after those, the first top page fills out, and then like the second page and stuff. Like, at what point will people just? I mean, who knows? Also, there might be a new skill coming out, so I wonder what that would reignite. I know a lot of people would hate it. I don't know what are your thoughts if a new skill came out after you get 200 mil
no.
all?
Oh, I don't want a new skill. If a
Obviously,
new
I
yeah,
would see. I could see
if a
that.
new skill does come out, which I personally don't think right now in the game that we have that it makes sense to have a new skill. I don't see it fitting unless there's some sort of update where it makes sense now with whatever comes into the game that also another skill comes in with it, then sure. But now I don't think we really need one. If it does come out, there is a reason why I have been money making when I don't need to money make anymore. So if it is a buyable, I will have a little leg up and potentially just be able to smash that out really quickly rather than having to struggle and money make or whatever when that time comes. I'm already planned.
How motivated would you be if, like, let's just say, let's just say a year from now, like next February, somehow they push out a new skill and it's coming out, like, will you like try to be rank 1 overall? Like, would you really push, or would you just try to just maintain top page and just, or not care to get 200 mil and like
Yeah,
instantly?
it would have to be, you know, it's very situational, I guess, at that time. Like, I'm not the type of person that will, take off work or not, spend time with family and stuff like that. Um, so it would just, yeah, it'd be very situational. If if it came about and it made sense that I could actually just nerd out and go for it, then I think I would. But realistically, I don't think with my plans for actual IRL that it would make sense to go for like a rank 1 push.
Yeah.
It would probably make sense to like finish out and stay on top page depending on how many people are around at that time.
It's interesting. I wonder what it would be. It would probably be a really fast skill, was my guess, like 300k an hour. So it's not like it would take that long, but yeah.
The the interesting thing to touch base or touch back on the motivation, like once top page fills up. My hope also is that with the new clan system coming in, potentially that could bring in some more sort of motivation for ranks. Because with like right now, I don't know how it is if it's top 30 in other clans or top 25, but like in Hex it's top 25 for a silver star, a captain rank. So like, I mean, once the top page fills out, obviously you literally can't get captain rank, right? So things will be shifting as well. Like when top page fills up, you'll start seeing ranks for clans changing as well, like maybe top 50 for silver star. And then with the new clan system in general, there's going to
True.
be a whole bunch of different ranks as well that could potentially motivate people to keep going and keep grinding for certain things.
Do you think you'll make an Iron Man at all, or do you think you'll just keep everything on your main account? What are your thoughts on Iron Man, honestly? Just like briefly.
Uh, I hate all you Iron Man. No, I make a joke like when people ask me, "Are you gonna make an Iron Man?" I'm like, I'd actually rather, get a face tattoo. I'd rather, like live in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. Like, I have no inclination. It'd be funny. This comes out, and then like 3 years later, you see me streaming as like top Iron Man. That'd be hilarious. But right now, yeah, I'm all in on this one account. Like when I
Yeah,
finish this, I plan to, you know, just make this account as beefy as possible rather than spreading it out across multiple accounts. I'd rather just have an absolute
I
like
respect that.
mammoth of a one account.
That's like me. Like, I could. There's no way I would make another account just to make it like subpar to this. Like, I might as well keep every single thing on this account. Like,
Yeah.
people have asked like, oh, like, why are you making new hardcore? Are you gonna do group Iron Man? Are you gonna do league stuff? It's like, dude, if I get any, first of all, I'm obsessed with third age. If I were to get a third age piece on a different account, I'd fucking cry, because it's like, I want it all to be on. I don't want to be like, oh, look at this account I have. Look at this account I have. It's like, dude, just put it all in one. Like, so I kind of agree with you there. It's kind of sad because I feel like Iron Man was never a thing that needed to come out in the first place. And it definitely did, kind of separate the community in a way. But like
Sure.
at the same time, I'm like, so I just hate the GE and I hate like instant kind of like the instant sort of gratification. Not gratification is not the right word, but just like getting things done in like a really quick and efficient manner. I kind of like the tediousness of Iron. And honestly, I feel like if they had never come out with the GE, like main would still be really fun. Obviously, we're old and like we're all older and we all have lives and stuff. And well, not all of us,
Oh,
but
I was gonna say, hold on.
yeah. And like,
Older.
but like Zybe, because I didn't play back when Zybez was the thing. And like, I know like it was almost like there already is a Zyba, so why not just introduce something into the game that's similar to it, like a Grand Exchange? So I kind of
Hmm.
understand why it came out and why people were for it, but I don't know. It was kind of nice having that sort of community driven trading and stuff like that where I don't know. Like you could literally just make money off of just being the middleman and stuff. Like I don't know. It's kind of nice. It's a
I
cool thought.
I'll give you like a little sneak peek of the history. When I used to merch on Zybez, every morning I'd set my alarm for 4 a.m. because I had an individual from China log on every morning, and he'd give me 600,000 U logs and 100,000 magic logs every single morning,
Damn.
and I'd make like 30 mil a day back in like 2015 just off merching U log. Like to me that's fun. Like going
Yeah.
to the GE and just like manipulating it that way. Not really a fan of it personally, even though there's not too much of a difference. But having that story of saying like so and so, I would wake up at this time, and I don't know, it adds more kind of nostalgia to the RuneScape experience rather than like I just bought these random logs and then flipped them, and that's that.
Yeah. It's just boring.
Yeah, it was
All
fun.
right. Well, do you have any other topics that you would like to kind of cover
Um,
or anything that you are dying to just tell people?
I was gonna say this is going to be like my dying speech, but if I could give maybe some advice to those that are going or are interested in like post max efficiency and skilling, um, try to take it a little. I don't want to make it like a job. Like you don't have to take it too seriously, but actually do some sort of evaluation of yourself and see what fits you personally. If you're the type of person that's gonna AFK and skill, at least try to maximize that to its highest potential. Like, don't just be, uh, just don't accept being just an AFK guy. Try to go out and push yourself and do tick manipulation or the more challenging methods because even myself, I've thought, wow, this skill looks tough. And then through advice from people and tricks that other people have found out while doing it, you'll be pleasantly surprised as to what you yourself could actually achieve. So don't write yourself off right away and play the game how you truly want to play it. Don't play it to try to get Twitter likes or Reddit upvotes. Just take it for what it is and like just do what you want to do. I don't know. That's what I've over the years of playing this, I've found no matter what other people say at the end of the day, you need to be happy with how you spend your time on the game and that's I mean at the end of the day that's what we play the game for is to have fun. It's not supposed to be a chore. Take care of your mental health. Don't get so dragged into what other people think on RuneScape. Um, yeah, I mean, I could just go on and on, but like, just be happy with what you do and do it how you want to be do it, but don't be afraid to push yourself to try those things that you might not be comfortable with right away.
Yep, I would agree with the whenever you try something new, and it goes with like life in general. Like if you try something new that looks really hard, like you're just going to build so much confidence from learning that. It's going to like inspire confidence and like get you better at other things. Same thing with like PVMing and stuff. And I'm kind of excited for you to, get 200 mil all and start PVMing and like, because I know you're already a good PVMer, but yeah, when you put as much time into like PVM as like skilling and stuff, you start getting really fucking good, and like you just and things that seemed very tough to do like eventually just get really easy, and it's just really fun. And so like I agree with that. Just in general, just push yourself. Like why not?
Push yourself, ask. Don't be afraid to talk. Like, I have no problem with speaking to someone with, 200 efficient hours on the game, and, my time isn't some sort of like, not like Elon Musk or something where my time is just super valuable and I don't have time for anyone else. Like, a lot of the HLC people would love for you to like join the Discord, voice chat, talk in streams, get people's advice on things. So yeah, put yourself out there and yeah, game on.
All right. Well, Dan, it's been a pleasure, dude. I appreciate your time and just kind of the topics we covered. I hope you guys found some, if you took anything away from this, I hope it was that like push yourself basically, and like, um, yeah, don't like things are not, it's a game at the end of the day. So do what makes you happy, and like obviously keep yourself like
Balance.
healthy and stuff, and yeah, balance.
Balance is when people say like how do you still stay motivated and stuff like that, it's like, well, it's because I do all of these other things that allows me to be excited to log on to the game. I'm not dreading logging in. I'm balancing out other things. So balance is very key. But
Or
yeah, thanks for having me on. It was an
yeah.
absolute pleasure. I enjoy chatting and letting the community know that, HLC players don't all, listen to K-pop and watch anime and
I know Dirt Nerd mentioned that. Why do all you MFs listen to K-pop? Do you have anything to just add quickly to
no,
that?
yeah, we don't. But
Not everyone.
people, I think it's originated with like people, some people liked it and then some people like ironically put their avatars and then they became it. So it's like people started enjoying K-pop that didn't enjoy it, and I've never listened to it, but not all of us
Yeah.
do. I mean, you watch a Randy stream, the guy talks about more sports than like half my friends with like sports knowledge and stuff. So there's definitely some people out there. We're not all degens, so to speak.
Well, Dan, I'm gonna get your Twitch. So Dan's a live streamer. If you didn't pick that up, he streams on Twitch, and I will also get your. Let's see. Do you have any other links that you want me to put in?
Just no, I mean, yeah, Dan underscore Gleesac on Twitch, and then I'm on the Hexus account on Twitter, so you can at Hexus on Twitter.
All right, I'll include both of
But
those then. And if you guys are interested in Hexus as well, I'll put that Twitter link. Yeah. All right. Looks like we're good to go. Keep in mind, guys, next week and the week after, there will not be a Sae Bae Cast because I will be in Miami on the beach, and potentially Fat Clouds and I might meet up. We'll do a little IRL stream. Probably won't happen, but there is a slight potential. So
let's go.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so there won't be a Sae Bae Cast for a couple weeks. Don't worry, it hasn't died, or oh, shit. Hopefully it doesn't die by then. But I'm gonna get a special guest on for 3 weeks from now to get on. So anyway, stay tuned, guys, and thank you for listening. And Dan, again, it was a pleasure. And
Thank you.
everyone have a great day. Peace.
Bye.